I'm going to fake it till I make it and just act happy today. What up? I told Emily I had a headache when we started, so take it easy on me, folks. We are glad to be back. It's another Thursday. It's the Ask Us Anything call. We already have a ton of people coming in, but that doesn't mean you can't come in too. So let's go ahead and throw up the banner here that says that the pre-sales question and answers go in the chat. Put your questions in the chat. This is meant to be a very interactive session, and the more questions you ask, the more content we have to cover. We also get some comments or questions before the broadcast, and I'll be opening up that spreadsheet as we cover some of these other questions, and we'll be peppering those in as well. So if you're one of those lucky folks that submitted your question before the broadcast, don't feel that we're going to forget about you. If your question's in there, we'll get to you and get you covered and taken care of. And with that, let's welcome some folks that are coming to us from all over the world. We got Gary Alderson with us today. Gary's from East St. Paul, Manitoba. Good morning on this nice spring day. And I guess congratulations are in order, right? You're up in Canada and you guys got a new premier, or however it is that you say that. So that's awesome. Sarah wants to know if this is where you come to ask questions. It is. Sarah, you got that part right. Go ahead and put a question in for us so we can go ahead and help you out. That would be awesome. Gary supporting the mission, right? He says, hello, Sarah. Yes, you're in the right place. Rolf, greetings from Germany. Wasn't Rolf one of the kids in The Sound of Music? I know, totally unrelated, right? But Sound of Music in my house is it's an annual journey for us, an annual journey. My daughter, who is now 20, got hooked on that movie when she was like 3. And every year we watch that movie multiple times. And I'm pretty sure one of the kids' names is Rolf. We're going to have to start paying Gary, because Gary is greeting people in the chat now too. Good afternoon, Rolf. And I'm not teasing you, Gary. Keep it up, man. That's awesome. 7 p.m. Rolf, I talk to people. Well, so does Emily. We talk to people across the pond all the time, and it is kind of unique. In fact, the client call I had yesterday was in the UK. So the UK, Netherlands, Spain, France, Italy. And I know you got, Emily, don't you have someone in Africa or something you talk to?
I talk to people in Berlin, the WP Fusion team. I was talking to them last night at midnight, my time. And so, yeah, it's 10 a.m. So I'm like all over the place.
Yeah. I remember when I was foolish enough to live on the West Coast, where Emily is now, and LifterLMS would have, it was either an 8 o'clock or a 9 o'clock meeting, but it was East Coast time. And so I was either up at 5 or 6. I can't remember. It was like summertime 2 years ago or something. We did those early morning meetings. And, I thought it was painful for Emily to be there, but my goodness, I was 2 hours further back. Anthony says, hello, Anthony. Is it Tia or Taya? I want to say it's Tia, but from London. Awesome. There we go. Let's see. We got join us in VR. You were here last week, I think. You have a few more questions again, so that's awesome. Glad that we could help. Anthony from Minneapolis. Anthony, you could have gotten some one-on-one help from Emily not too long ago before she bailed. She's gone. She is now on the West Coast. VR, we're going to come back to your questions. Sarah, I see that you've got a question in there. Man, Mark, here's another new name, Mark Hansen. Mark Hansen from Minnesota. Let's see. Is this being streamed somewhere else? Tia, this is being streamed everywhere. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X. Any channel that we could get onto where people or course creators might be coming in to collaborate. This is being put out there, right? Gary says to just throw them some money. And it looks like we've got Debbie Miller with us too, and she's got a question that's going to be coming up here in just a little bit. So we've got a good start here today. I'm going to say again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Sometimes a question takes 10 or 15 minutes, and other times it takes 30 seconds. And we're here for an hour. So we want to make sure that we fill that time with something that is full. So with that said, I'm going to jump into Sarah's question. I'm going to pull that one banner down. Oh, I didn't do my job. Hang on, I got to go back and do my job. I got to hide the current content comment, and then I got to go to banners, and I got to turn that banner off. And then this is important because this is brought to you by your sponsors at LifterLMS.com/AMA-gift, LifterLMS.com/AMA-gift. That gets you a 55% off discount when you go to that link and then make a purchase. So I want to make sure that I cover that. We'll head back to comments, and let's go ahead and find Sarah's question. And I can turn off that banner because that banner gets annoying. All right, so I have a live workshop to create and currently do registration with Event Espresso. Can I do registration through LifterLMS? Can we do group registration? Can we take daily attendance? Can we create... Sarah, you're supposed to split your questions up. Can we create certificates? Trying to decide if I should switch to a live workshop to be hosted within the course. Sarah, you got a lot going on here. First things first, when it comes to real events, live events, can you do it in LifterLMS? Yes, you could. You could create the event as a membership or as a course, and then you could have like a course page or a membership page. It would have the details of the event. If it were virtual, it would, probably have a link to the event, or if it was in real life, it would have, an address and a time, right? So you absolutely could do that. And then you could say, register here. You could have a sales page for that page, right? So you could have a landing page or a sales page that goes to the membership or the course page that is your event or your live session, and then you could sell that way. You absolutely could. But I'm gonna go out on a limb here. If I have an LMS that has like a lot of static or evergreen type of learning, like that, that unsynchronized learning, right? And that's going on as courses, I'm typically going to leverage a third-party appointment or a third-party booking or a third-party event type plugin to actually promote the live events and manage the live events. So if you're happy with Event Espresso and it does the job well for you, then that's a really great thing. Where that gets really, really muddy is when you get into the other things that are in your question. So, can you do the registration through LifterLMS? Yes. In fact, you could probably set up an automation through Event Espresso and LifterLMS so that when people sign up for an event, they automatically get added to a course. That would be fantastic, right? But then it says, can we do group registrations? Well, LifterLMS has a groups add-on that is a premium add-on where you can sell groups in numbers. So absolutely, you could go that route. Can we take daily attendance? That's where things get muddy again. LifterLMS is originally set up as like asynchronous learning. It's set up for people that have a course online and people are learning at their own pace. And so what it does is it tracks progress. So this gets muddy. If you had a course set up and you had lessons that were set up, instead of doing lessons like lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, and you had lessons set up as like May 1st, May 2nd, May 3rd, May 4th, right? If you did that and then people signed into that lesson and then marked it complete, like let's say you gave them a resource in that lesson, you gave them a white paper to download, or you had a form to fill out or a quiz to take, those lessons could serve as your attendance because they would have to mark them complete to move on to the next thing. But again, that gets kind of sticky. If I had my druthers, I would probably use the event, like event tickets for that. Event tickets can allow you to sell access to an event and track its usage. So that might be something I would do. Certificates, that comes with every version of LifterLMS. So you can create certificates to be automated when people complete a course, or you could award certificates manually. So that's totally cool. And then trying to decide if you should switch to a live workshop to be hosted within the course. If you're talking about a virtual meeting, like the StreamYard meeting is us to you right now, you can embed StreamYard as webinars. You can use Zoom to embed Zoom or integrate Zoom into your whole website if you like. We have a blog post on integrating Zoom, so that works out really, really well. And then there's other tools. There's a tool called Jitsi. There's a tool called Whereby. There is a tool called WP Stream. So there are lots of options to be able to put live workshops or live meeting type things embedded into your website. The thing is to kind of do some homework and see what fits your use case best. The Zoom integration can be a headache to set up, but the good news is they have an installation guide. They have a configuration guide with that. And if you click on that link and you go through step by step, if you follow the steps and you follow the directions, it works flawlessly, and it's a wonderful tool once it's in the back end of your website. I use the Zoom integration on a lot of projects because that Zoom integration, when you share a link for Zoom, it has the big blue rectangle that says Zoom in it. With the Zoom integration, it actually incorporates the branding from your own website. And so from a marketing perspective, that's one of the big sells for me, is that I like, if I'm going to share a live event from my website, it's going to promote my website instead of promoting Zoom. So I'm really big on that. And I think that kind of knocks out a series of questions on your part, but I'm pretty sure you'll come back with something else. So let's see what else we've got here. Question 4, question 5. Where did questions 1, 2, and 3 go? Here they are, questions 1. So here we go. Fishtail, join us in VR. All right. Is there an easier way for us to auto-enroll in our first membership level and some or all our courses? Emily, you want to take that? And I'll start pulling up the other document that might have some questions in it.
Sure. Is there an easier way for us to auto-enroll in our one membership level and some or all of our courses? So if you could let us know in the chat a little bit more about what you're looking to do with auto-enrollment. Usually when we're talking about auto-enrollment, when it comes to LifterLMS, we're looking at something like the membership settings. I'll share my window on a demo site and show you kind of what I'm talking about.
Share my window.
When it comes to auto-enrollment in Lifter, we're looking at editing a membership. We're looking at this little panel here at the bottom for auto-enrollment, and this is where we select the number of courses that you'll automatically receive access to when you purchase the membership or when you enroll in the membership. As far as auto-enrolling into the membership, let's see. They said, please read above question 1. So this is like a puzzle now. Let's see.
It's a puzzle.
I have a few more questions
again.
Yeah, I see.
I skipped that one on purpose. I didn't think I had to show that one.
Right. Question 1, an easier way for us to auto-enroll in one membership level and some or all of our courses. It just says question 1, question 3, question 4, question 5. P.S. there is no longer a question 2. Okay, great. Let's see. I guess with question 1, yeah, I don't see any details higher other than I have a few.
I take it back, Sarah. You can put as many questions as you want in one comment.
That's I totally agree. There's an easy way for us to auto-enroll in one membership level and some or all of our courses. So with LifterLMS, you can use the REST API if you're a developer level user. Oh, Kurt's got to jump off camera for a moment. If you're a developer level user, you can use the REST API to enroll a user with a PHP function in multiple courses. But if you're not a developer level user and you want to use auto enrollment type features outside of the membership, let's say if somebody signs up as a WordPress user, you want to auto enroll them into a membership. LifterLMS doesn't facilitate that functionality directly, but there is a way to do it. And that would be with Automator WP, and Uncanny Automator can do the same thing. This is a free plugin, but they have a pro version, and it's kind of like Zapier within WordPress. So if we look at Automator WP LifterLMS, we look at the triggers and actions, and so you can combine WordPress tools with each other. So enrolling a user in a course is in their free version as far as actions. And so you can say, when a user signs up for WordPress, enroll them in a course. But there's also like enroll user in a membership included in their pro version. Their pro versions are not super expensive. And there's a fire truck going by at one moment, if you can hear that in the background.
Seattle is such a calm place.
No, yeah, I mean, this is so dense, and there's always like fire trucks everywhere and cops. So so you have triggers and actions. This is a part of their LifterLMS extension. They have a free version in WordPress. So the most common thing I see people do with this is when a user signs up for WordPress as a basic user, they get auto-enrolled into a course. And so there's a pro version that does more complicated things. I had a client example a few weeks ago who did, when a user purchases a WooCommerce product, we want to reset their progress in a course. So mark a course as not completed. And the purpose of this was that they do a renewal process every 2 years where they had, you have to re-sign up for the course every 2 years to remain certified. I don't know where this fire truck is, but it's like still coming by. Now it's getting louder. It's on the street. I'm in the backyard, so I can't see anything. One moment. There it goes. So what they did every 2 years, they needed to recertify people, but people would repurchase the same product and they would have 100% completion. They're like, how do I get the certificate again? I can't do this. And so we would reset their progress every time they sign up so that it would be back to 0. So Automator WP can do some very cool things. Let's see if there's any more details. Question 1 for the details.
Automator WP. Automator WP.
Would love Automator WP, and they have all kinds of cool integrations with other tools. They're made by the same creators as GamiPress, so GamiPress is a really cool thing where you can give people points and ranks and things for completing lessons. You can get like points, and there can be a leaderboard for who gets the most points. There's cool stuff you can do with Automator WP and GamiPress. So question 3. Hopefully, let us know in the comments below if that helps. LifterLMS's auto-enrollment only works from membership to course, but then you can do things with like Automator tools to enroll people in courses and memberships based on other things that happen in WordPress. Is there a way to have Lifter auto-suggest enroll in the end of lessons if they're not? To have Lifter auto-suggest enroll in the end of lessons if they're not, versus leave the user never to discover that. What do you make of that? What do you make of that, Kurt?
I think that this is a turn back to that question that we've answered before, where they're looking for like a, you watch a video and then it says people that watch this video also watch these 3 videos or something, right?
Okay.
And so what I think this is, if I interpret this right, is, and we've said this before, you could add a lesson at the bottom of a course that would say, click this link or push this button or whatever to see your recommended course, the next recommended course. And then that's a good way to get things to funnel through.
Yeah. And right, I would imagine auto-suggest enroll at the end of lessons if they're not enrolled. So I would imagine maybe you're using the free lesson feature.
Yeah. Maybe there's that one, right? So, hey, if you like what you've seen here, click this button to give us some Benjamins.
Yes. No, that's exactly what I'm thinking. We'll add that into a lesson to show you exactly how you might do that. So let's say that this is our free lesson. What is LifterLMS? We'll go into the settings. It's already checked as a free lesson. So let's turn off some of these other things. So it's a free lesson. We'll edit our lesson, and then we'll promote, if someone is attending the free lesson, we'll promote them to sign up. So if you like what you see here, click below to give
like
us
a good drug dealer.
Click below to give us some Benjamins. Button.
Here's a taste, my man. Just a taste. If you want more, you know where to get to some.
There we go. So we would put our content here, and then I recommend grouping blocks. I went over this with a client yesterday where we can use the document overview, which is one of the most helpful tools if you're using the block editor ever. If you select the blocks and put them in a group, we can make this entire group of blocks, which currently contains 2 blocks, only visible if you are not enrolled or you're a visitor. So, because we don't want students who are already paid for our course to see our sales content messaging. So that's how we would say only visible to non-enrolled users. And then we would link that button over to our access plan. So
The payment link.
The payment link. So we would go to our course. I don't know how I feel about this new interface where we drag and drop this thing.
I got confused. I didn't like it myself either.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll get used to it, but I'm a little confused.
You know where it comes in handy is some of our stuff takes more vertical space now, so you can drag it up higher.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It gives you more block editor room if you want it. I'm looking forward to the day when all of this stuff at the bottom is accessible from within this area here. I feel like that'll make things a little more clear. But we have our Start Strong link. We see /purchase /plan 4408. We're just going to Command C. We're going to copy that link. We can also get the link right here. Click that little link. It'll take us right to the checkout page. We'll just copy that URL, and that will be our button. We're going to send you right to checkout. And you know what? If you're using LifterLMS Advanced Coupons, so we could talk about a paid product, if you're using LifterLMS Advanced Coupons, you could say, click here to grab 15% off and get 15% off. And then we could drop in a coupon URL from Advanced Coupons so that people who click that link, instead of just getting the pricing or the purchase, they would get a purchase with a coupon. There's some cool options for you there. Hopefully that clears that up a little bit.
That's tight.
Yes.
All right. I'm faking this headache thing pretty good, I think, today. All right. I'm going to get through it. I want to jump on to Debbie, and then we might come back to Fishtail because it looks like there was other questions, but we want to make sure we spread the love around a little bit. Debbie Miller says that she is from Jackson, Tennessee. Tennessee is beautiful. Have you ever been to Tennessee?
I have.
Tennessee.
Yes.
It's green, bridle trails everywhere, horses. My goodness. All right. It says, I'm currently using the free version of LifterLMS. I plan to migrate to one of the paid versions in a few weeks. I got great news for you, Debbie. First things first, it's not a migration. So that part right there should make you breathe easier. It says, right now, my course looks fantastic. Raise the roof! And I'm happy with it. However, some of my students can't access the material. They can get to the course, but can't open the lesson. Others can access it, but they keep having to log out and log back in. Can you help with this? What you're describing, Debbie, is, I'm just going to have to say it the way I see it. It sounds like cheap hosting with a caching problem. Whenever students have access or should have access, and then they go to log in and they don't have access, or they sign up for a course and then they go to set their password and then it says, hey, buy this course again, or like anything that's a user experience that isn't what you expect, it's generally a caching issue either within the site or on the server. If you have multiple caching tools that are causing a conflict with each other, that can sometimes happen. Like let's say you have Breeze and Rocket WP and something else that says, oh, we're a image optimization performance plugin. Anything that says performance in the description of the plugin is generally using caching to increase that performance. And then if you're on sites like, there's a ton of them, right? You could be on SiteGround, you could be on Bluehost, you could be on GoDaddy, you could be on WP Engine for that matter. A lot of those hosting companies are super aggressive with their caching. And so what you would do is A, flush the cache that's in your site, B, get in touch with your hosting company and see if they can reduce the caching on your site and not cache things that are dynamic pages, and then go from there. All right. The second part of your question was, how do you migrate from free to paid? And the good news, the great news there is it's not a migration. One of the things, I'll just be honest, I'll be really transparent, because we're going back like 9 or 10 years ago for me. When I first got LifterLMS, I was like, what is all this? Because you would put LifterLMS in, and then, if you wanted to use social learning, you had to add a plugin for that. If you wanted to have a payment gateway, you added a plugin for that. If you wanted to have anything else, you had to add a plugin for that. Next thing you know, in your plugins list, you've just got a list of all these LifterLMS plugins. And at first, it seems maybe like overdoing it, or confusion, or extra friction. But over time, I've begun to realize what a blessing it is that you don't have to uninstall or reconfigure or do anything to change this plugin. You have the LifterLMS free version. If you want to go to a paid version, it's going to give you access to additional plugins. And the access to those additional plugins, you'll just add those to your site, and they integrate seamlessly. There's no hoops to jump through. The only thing that you need to do in some cases is, like, let's say you do a WooCommerce integration, for example. Then you would install the WooCommerce plugin, you would activate the WooCommerce plugin, and then you would go to LifterLMS settings, and you would enable the WooCommerce add-on. But once it's enabled, everything's already integrated into the back end, and you don't have to do anything else. And you don't have to redo your course or migrate anything or do backups or any of that. Like, everything's there. So that is hopefully that's really, really great news. The hosting thing, I'm just making a crazy assumption that it is caching. If it is caching, it's super easy to move hosts nowadays. If you needed to migrate to a more capable host, because let's cut to the chase. You said you had students. That's amazing. That's huge. So if you're on the free version and you've already got paying students, that is fantastic. So with that revenue, you could upgrade your hosting. Everybody gets a better experience. The site has better performance. Your students get quicker access to things, and you don't get that kind of confusion thing with the cache interfering with the dynamic material. Emily, do you have any follow-up on that? Because what if I'm wrong?
I mean, I would place my bets on it being a caching issue too, related to your host. But I mean, if it's not, I don't know. I mean, that's pretty clear. If some users get one thing, some users get another thing, then we're definitely looking at caching.
Yeah, that's where my gut is. So, if you don't already have a caching tool in your website, then look at a caching tool, right? So your host might recommend one. I like WP Rocket. If you're on Cloudways, you get used to Breeze, and a lot of people like Breeze. But there's a lot of tools out there that do this. The problem that we run into, Debbie, is that there's so many of these tools that do that, and some that do caching that don't advertise that they're caching tools. And so sometimes you end up with a conflict here and there. So if you look at your plugins list, and this is just kind of like the, it's just like the expert tip here. If you look at your plugins listing and you see things that you've put on your site that are performance oriented, you might want to disable those, clear the cache, and then retest with your students and see if there was a conflict with multiple cache tools being activated.
Totally.
All right. Tia says, I'm very new to LifterLMS, and I want to get started with hosting videos and assignments and other course-related stuff. I want to understand the hosting of content, payments, and accounting more. Well, we can certainly help out with the hosting of content and especially videos. We have a resource on LifterLMS. If you go to lifterlms.com, and in the top search bar, you put host videos. One of the first things that's going to come up is a resource that says, where do I host my LifterLMS videos? And everybody's got an opinion on this, Tia. I am on a lifetime deal. I'm a sucker for a lifetime deal. So I'm on a lifetime deal with a company called Adilo, Adilo. Periodically, they offer a lifetime deal, and it's pretty attractive. You could put stuff on YouTube. So if you're not adverse to having your material be public, you could put it on YouTube and then just embed it through YouTube, and then it's free, right? But then it's also open to the public on the YouTube channels, and then you also get some extra YouTube goodies, right? Like searchability and things like that. So there's some bonuses to using YouTube. If you don't want it publicly available and you want to keep things private, a lot of people go to Vimeo, and a lot of people, more and more people that I know of, are going to bunny.net. Bunny.net is incredibly affordable compared to Vimeo or Wistia. And if you combine it with a tool called Presto Player, it works really well inside the site. And you can actually upload the videos through a website interface for you. So you wouldn't have to go to bunny.net to do the upload. You could upload them right through your site if you wanted to. So hosting videos it seems like a simple thing, but there's a lot of choices. So you just want to figure out your budget and what your expectations are, and then make the best decision that you can. Assignments is a premium add-on by LifterLMS. It comes with the Infinity bundle, but it is a premium add-on. And assignments we haven't shown assignments in forever, actually, Emily. That would be a really good screen share, just to show like how do you activate an assignment? How do you make an assignment? Because there's different levels of assignments. We had someone on the show 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, that said they wanted to have a certain kind of response in assignments, and that it was difficult to do that. But that response actually fit into the quiz mode, right? They want to know how to put in like code, how someone could write code for an answer. And that's available as a quiz question. But in assignments, you can have it as a task list. Like you could say, perform these tasks, and then like do it yourself, like check that list off. When you check that list off, you can mark your assignment complete. That's one. People can upload a document or upload something to you. So that's another way to do an assignment. And then, is there a third one? I can't remember. It's like add a comment or something.
Yeah, you mean like adding comments to lessons?
That's different. Okay. I was just thinking about assignments.
Yeah.
And so there's that. Payments, if I remember correctly, are from the UK. So you're probably going to ask us about VAT. And neither myself or Emily have to deal with that, or would consider ourselves expert on taxation and accounting law, especially for the UK. We do know that if you need to put VAT on your invoices and have that kind of taxation built into your payment gateway, then what you're going to be looking for is the WooCommerce integration, because WooCommerce allows for you to do the taxation, whereas the standard Lifter payment gateway through PayPal and Stripe does not. I feel like I nailed that one, Emily.
Yeah.
Delphine's here. That was at 12:07. Sarah said sorry earlier, but then I had to pat you on the back because, like I said, there was no sorry on that. I think you nailed it. All those questions in one thing. That was perfect, because we got lost here with Fishtail. Here's one for you, Emily. Is there an auto way to globally add things?
Let's see. A way to globally add things to appear on every course page in every lesson. That depends very much on the theme you're using. If you're using LifterLMS Sky Pilot, you will have options to do that. So yeah, I guess there are some ways to do this. Let's see. So could you let us know in the chat what theme you're working with? This is really going to be a theme dependent thing. I can talk about LifterLMS Sky Pilot for anybody who happens to be using that. So if I pull up my screen here and we jump into Appearance Editor, the way that we would make global changes on our lessons or courses in Sky Pilot or any full site editing theme would be by modifying our templates. We would look at our template for lessons or for courses. And let's see, LifterLMS might be a template category here. We have course track membership category. It's not a pattern, is it? Pattern. Let's see. I don't think this is a pattern. Yeah, no, this should be Should be within our template somewhere. I'll just search for lesson. There's no results. Do I not have a lesson template? What is this? No.
You can look up course because it's for course title.
Yes. Course catalog, course taxonomy. Just trying to find my lesson template. Lesson. Let me see if I go to a lesson what it's using, because it should be single dash lesson and single dash course as our template options with SkyPilot out of the box. So if we edit a course, we look in the upper right corner.
Single post.
Single posts. Oh my gosh, things have changed. And then if we do a lesson, what are we?
You have to create a new template.
We could create a new template. The demo site used to have it, single post. I guess we use single post now. So if we go to appearance editor,
that's sure. Crazy that something in WordPress would change like that.
I think that our team might have changed that. Single posts, but here is our single post layout. This shouldn't have a sidebar, so I'm a little confused. If we view this, yeah, this looks broken. I don't understand. So, yeah, we used to have a single lesson template specifically. Maybe I just need to generate a new demo site. But usually when we're creating templates, if we add a new template, we do a custom template. This would be our single lesson. Call it whatever you want. We'll create the template. We could choose from a pattern or start from scratch. And then we could do a column block and do maybe like a sidebar here. And we would put in the course progress, maybe with the continue button. We would put in the syllabus, course syllabus. And then in the middle section, we would put on a title. And then we would put on the content. So let's see what this looks like. And we need single lesson. That's what we're working on. So within our lesson, we can change the template layout that's applying here. So instead of single post, we want to change template to single lesson, save that change, and then view what we did. So it's still a little cramped, but you can see throwing something together really quickly is possible. So if I go back to my single lesson, it looks like we need some more spacing. So I might group my column. I might put a little bit of a content width on here, maybe 1000. Save changes, reload over here. And so now we're a little more condensed. I like that, but we do need padding off the top. We could spend so much time editing these, put some padding off the top and bottom, and putting together a little lesson template. But once we have all of our changes made to our lesson template, whenever we apply a change to that template, anything that's using the lesson template will absorb that change. So if we change the title, if we change the sidebar, anything on the single lesson template will change. And LifterLMS will be coming out with a tutorial soon about how to bulk change the lesson template applied to any given course. I just left them notes about how to do that, and so that should be coming out hopefully soon.
Perfect. Let's jump into another one. It says, is there an auto way? You know, everyone just loves this auto thing. It's 3 years since AI has been out and everybody wants to automate the whole world. Is there an auto way to globally change all of our lessons to free or not free? I don't believe there is.
Auto change lessons to free or not free. No, yeah, that's gotta be, I think that's gotta be one at a time. I could look at my demo site and see if that happens. It's like a Hail Mary to see if that's an option inside of the lesson bulk editor, but I don't think it is. But they did mention PHP code, so maybe there's a way to do it for them with PHP code. Yeah, no, I don't see free lesson in bulk, so that's probably going to be a little custom development to say, like, query all the lessons in the database, add a post meta field for each lesson in the database that assigns the lesson as free, however that's supposed to work.
Nice. We've got some people adding comments and questions in here, so I want to make sure that we get through some stuff. Anthony asked a question that kind of goes into what we were talking about with I think it was Tia's question, or was it Debbie's question? We're brand new to LifterLMS, so sorry if this question is basic, but we're trying to pick a host. Bluehost, WordPress. Does LifterLMS include a payment platform like Stripe? Will we need to buy a plugin from the host? Ugh. There's a lot going on there, Anthony, and don't worry about being basic with your questions. This is, like the pre-sales getting started, ask us anything space. So don't worry about asking something basic. First things first, we have a list of recommended resources at LifterLMS. So if you go to the footer at LifterLMS, you're going to see an option for recommended resources. But if you just went lifterlms.com/recommended-resources, you would see a giant page with a bunch of vetted third-party tools, hosting sources, themes, and all of that stuff that we know works well with LifterLMS. So that's kind of a guide to help you get started. The hosting is a tricky question because so many things come to play. Remember that when you have a learning management system, a community site, or a big shopping cart, like a WooCommerce kind of site, those tools, they're fairly heavy as far as like server resources go. So like you could absolutely build a minimal viable product. You could build a proof of concept on Bluehost or one of the other kind of like budget-minded kind of hosting platforms. You absolutely could. There's not a problem with doing that. But when you start adding like concurrent users to your platform and there's multiple people trying to access your content at the same time, that's when you start to recognize that maybe you need some more server resources. Maybe things slow down. Maybe people get a couple of errors like a 403 or 500 or whatever when they're trying to get into your site. And that can be frustrating. So there are some hosts that are a little more progressive that aren't super expensive. If you look at the recommended resources page, you're going to see WP Tonic is one. I also work directly with them. They have a really interesting package that they offer. Cloudways is on the list. Cloudways has a small learning curve to feel comfortable using it, but once your site is up on Cloudways, there's nothing else to worry about. Like it just seems to work. Cloudways is really easy. Personally, I use 20i. I'm very happy with 20i lately. And then there's a bunch of others on the list. And so when you say pick a host, if you're brand new and it's a proof of concept and you're just seeing if you can get some traction with your idea, signing up for some $10 a month hosting platform is not the end of the world. You're not going to hear that from a lot of people. For most people, you're going to hear, oh, you need $35 a month or $50 a month or something. But realistically, if you are building the site yourself and you have the ability to work with it, then saving money up front is not a bad plan. It says, does LifterLMS include a payment platform like Stripe? Yes and no. The free version of LifterLMS comes with what we call a manual payment gateway, meaning you can collect money from anybody any which way you want, but you would have to manually grant them access to your content if the content was restricted. So you'd be able to do memberships and courses and all that stuff, but you would collect money from some other angle, and then you would manually grant them access to your content. The payment gateways that we offer are add-ons. And so we have a PayPal add-on, we have a Stripe add-on, we have a WooCommerce add-on, we have an authorized.net add-on, and then we have some of our bundles on the pricing page. And you'll notice, like right out of the chute, our first bundle includes payment gateways. And so you'll just want to take a look at our pricing page and see what fits your use case best. And then it says, well, you need to buy a plugin from the host. You shouldn't have to buy anything from your host other than hosting. There shouldn't be any plugins that you need to buy from a host. There's one thing on hosting that I'll say publicly, and that is WordPress.com is different than WordPress.org, right? So WordPress.com is like you can buy hosting and have a URL through them, but then you have to have like premium hosting to add different add-ons and plugins at different times. And so that one to me comes with a couple of caveats. But if you go through WordPress.org to get WordPress, or you're doing it through Cloudways or Bluehost or even GoDaddy or one of these other things, then yeah, WordPress will come installed for you. These are like one-click installs and everything's ready to go. And that copy of WordPress would be like a org situation. So then you could add whatever plugins you want. Anything to add to what I said?
No. Yeah, you just use WordPress.org. But like we talked about caching issues, I might not go with Bluehost for such a dynamic website on their cheapest package. But consideration.
I was trying to like cover it gently, right? Like proof of concept, make sure things work. You can do it if you want to save the money. There is hosting. There are names on the recommended resources list that I would not use for a learning management site with any kind of success.
Right.
You know, like I'm not a fan of GoDaddy. I'm not a fan of Bluehost. I used it for 16 years. I mean, it got me started. So when I say proof of concept, it works. But when you have a learning management system that experiences a little success and you get some decent traffic on it, you're going to want to make sure you have a host that can deal with the bandwidth requirements and, you know, have enough workers to make it work.
Right.
I'm lost on that one. I'm going to skip it because I don't understand it. Mark Hansen. Boom. Can you guys suggest a plugin that can take registration through a paywall, but use one assigned password that could be auto-generated whenever a new entity signs up for their employees? I think you need to take a look at groups, because every user in WordPress is going to have the ability to make their own password, because WordPress is based on user email and password for access to a website. So if you use groups, you can invite everybody to groups. They accept the invitation and then they set up their username and password. You could get into like all kinds. You could really get into the woods with like saying, we are going to add you to this website and auto configure your username, your email, and your password, and force that through like maybe through a WP Fusion or a WP All Import or something like that. But that is not a beginner's question, right? So the beginner's question is, could we have an entity sign up for their employees and use a type of auto enrollment? That is exactly what the groups feature is with LifterLMS. It's available separately, and it is available as part of the Infinity bundle. But if you're looking to automate outside of groups and have everybody have the same kind of like data string, like with like you want to send out an email to all of your staff that says, hey, just use your work email and this password, PASSWORD, to access your courses. That's something that you would have to push through a type of automation or customization, and I believe that would be a WP All Import or a WP Fusion thing. Do you have any feedback on that? And I'll be right back.
Yeah, so I think that's probably the way to go. So there's tools like Sync Login. I think it's just called Sync Login. It's a plugin that syncs logins between multiple WordPress installs. So as far as like, some people will take payments through one WordPress website, they'll run a WooCommerce website, and then they'll sync all those users to a second WordPress website. I'm going through a process right now to integrate Shopify into a WordPress install. And so how we're doing that is by taking the Shopify order data, and we're taking the email that was present on the Shopify order data. And so that's not a WordPress platform, that's Shopify. And then we're going to create a WordPress user. And so that's a little bit different if you're working with a different platform. And so, yeah, so Shopify will be accepting our paywall and then use an assigned password that could be auto-generated. I think auto-generated is going to be the most secure way to go. So we can say like, hey, here's your password to log into the live platform. I recommend not exposing the password anywhere for like security purposes. So if you can have the client assign their password so the website admin never has an opportunity to know what that password is, I like auto-generated. And so the use case I'm actually working with, they are signing up for their employees on Shopify, buying many seats. Those seats get assigned over in LifterLMS. And yeah, so that's how we're doing it. Buy in Shopify, create a LifterLMS group, assign that number of seats that they purchased in Shopify. The admin of the group has to get an auto-generated password, and then all their users are going to need to sign up via the LifterLMS sign-up link as well. So that's kind of like what I'm doing now. If it's on WordPress to WordPress, it's going to be much easier. But if you're on a third-party platform, it's definitely doable. Just requires a little bit of custom code potentially on what kind of integration you're putting together, whether it integrates with LifterLMS right now, or whether there needs to be a little work to make it integrate with LifterLMS. That's how I look at it.
Sarah says, thanks for all the other stuff, but then her last question is there a limit to the number of courses, and is there a cost per course? This question comes up a lot, Sarah, so I wanted to make sure I addressed it. And remember, I'm not just answering you, I'm answering everyone that watches the replay of this later. LifterLMS doesn't, it's open. This is not a walled garden. It's completely open. So you can have an unlimited number of users, unlimited number of administrators, unlimited number of instructors, courses, memberships, course tracks. You get the software and you build out what you want. The only wall you're going to come up against would be the hosting, and the number of people or number of things you would serve concurrently, as far as like bandwidth goes on a website. There is no limit on Lifter's side, and there's no charge. Like, we don't charge you for courses or for users or any of that. A lot of learning management systems that are SaaS-based, software as a service, they charge a licensing fee per user or per group of users, right? So if you have up to 1,000 students, up to 1,500 students, up to 5,000 students, whatever, it's a different rate for all of that. That is not the way Lifter is built. Lifter is built like, hey, here's your software, go build what you want, and it's yours. You go do your thing. And so there's no limits there for you. Anthony asked, after he did some research on his own, but his question is the WooCommerce embedded in Lifter, or do we subscribe to that separately? WooCommerce and LifterLMS is an integration. So you're going to have a WooCommerce, account. Like if you're going to buy, let's say you're going to do recurring charges, to do recurring charges through WooCommerce, you're going to need WooCommerce subscriptions. So Lifter doesn't provide the WooCommerce or the WooCommerce subscriptions. WooCommerce is a separate product, and it integrates with LifterLMS. And so WooCommerce by itself is free. You could add WooCommerce to a website, but if you want to do like subscriptions, then you're going to have the WooCommerce subscriptions, which you would get through WooCommerce, and it integrates with LifterLMS. And so it's kind of a mixed question, but that's kind of how that goes together. Let's see. Rolf had a MailChimp question. MailChimp is recommending tags and segments. The LifterLMS extension is showing me lists and groups. Is there a way to forward tags from LifterLMS? Every time I talk to somebody about a CRM versus any kind of software, it gets really muddy and confusing, because just about every piece of software out there has tags used. Like there's LifterLMS tags, but the LifterLMS tags don't automatically become part of the CRM tags, right? It's different.
Right. Yeah, no, LifterLMS tags is like taxonomy for organizing your courses, and tags in a CRM, that is like taxonomy for sorting contacts and then emailing contacts accordingly based on their lists or groups. And so when we talk about something like WP Fusion, we're talking about, or the LifterLMS MailChimp integration, you can enroll people in lists and groups when they sign up for courses with LifterLMS out of the box. Or you can do that same thing with like a WP Fusion add-on when they pass a lesson, pass a quiz, or fail a quiz and things like that. So a few different ways to do it. few different ways to think about it, but tags in Lifter are purely taxonomy for sorting your courses.
Yeah, they're not. It's like a category, like, because we have course categories, we have course tags, and you'll see that in almost every piece of software that involves any kind of users. There's going to be something that says category, something that says tags, and it can be real confusing to think that one is the same as the other, but it's not. It's not the same. Join Us VR said he was using the Astra free theme. So we talked a lot about SkyPilot and customizing the template, but with the Astra free theme, in order to have templates in Astra like that, I think you would have to integrate with Elementor, and then you might need Elementor Pro to be able to add templates to your site with Astra. I can't remember. My brain's going a little bit out on that one.
Yeah, you do need either Lifter or tangible Lifter elements to be able to apply an Elementor template to lessons in Lifter.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the Astra free theme, if you're using a page builder like Elementor, there are options with Elementor Pro plus like Lifter by like Saeed Masri in our community. But yeah, so Astra free can do a lot. But as far as doing global template edits for LifterLMS, if you're not using a page builder on your lessons or courses, making those global changes would require, and you did mention being PHP friendly, so you could write some hooks and filters. Because LifterLMS is very developer friendly to add content to lesson PHP layouts.
Yeah, I just looked at Astra Pro's website and I don't see templates being listed. I think to do the templates, you would have to have the Elementor connection.
Yeah, or something like Bricks.
Or Bricks, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the video suggestions. So if I host a video somewhere else, how LifterLMS is actually helping. I already have a WordPress website. Do I take user login through Lifter? Okay, I think we're getting confused. If you're hosting videos in your WordPress website, you are bogging down your WordPress website. Just because WordPress allows you to put a video in your website doesn't mean you should host a video in your website. So most effective, productive WordPress websites host their videos somewhere else and embed the video in the WordPress site. So there's an embed code. There's also a featured video field that you can use with LifterLMS, and that featured video field is with YouTube, Vimeo, or Wistia. Those are the three sources we use for video hosting for that. Now you can host your videos anywhere, and there's an embed code that you can put in your WordPress editor at any point to put the video anywhere in your website. So it's not a LifterLMS thing to have the video in the site. That's a WordPress thing. And I get that you already have a WordPress site. Do you take the user login through LifterLMS? Yes. If you activate LifterLMS with its membership tools and you want people to start becoming members of your website, you're going to want to use the LifterLMS login. And if you went to like yourwebsite.com/dashboard, that's natively where people would sign in. They would either log in, log out, or see their courses they're signed up for, their certificates, or their progress or their grades, or change their account information, or all kinds of things. And that is a dynamic link. So let's say someone's not signed into the website, but they have an account. If they signed into yourwebsite.com/dashboard, they would go to the page that says log in. Then they would log in and immediately be dropped at the dashboard. So that's how that works. Do we offer one-on-one discussions? That is a mixed bag right there, Tia. We offer these things. We do this every week. Every Thursday, we're here for an hour. For people that have the Infinity Bundle, we do an office hour mastermind call for another hour later in the day. We also have email support at help@lifterlms.com. And on the LifterLMS.com website, there is a space for a phone number during business hours. You can also leave a voicemail and somebody should call you back. But we do not have the staff manpower or time in a day really to do like individual one-on-one like Zoom sessions. We do have a list of experts. So especially if this is for corporate use or something, like if you have budget for this and it would be easier for you to hire somebody, we run into this a lot where people are like, hey, I like LifterLMS, but I didn't want to become a webmaster. I just need a website to host my courses on. If that's the ballpark that you're in, I would recommend going to lifterlms.com/experts. I'm on the list. Emily's on the list. There's a bunch of people on the list. Those are all vetted professionals that are skilled in helping you select the LMS you want, set it up, configure it, add the tools that you need, and get you ready to put your course in. And in some cases, help you write the course. Like all those experts have different areas of expertise. Like my agency actually does curriculum development and copywriting and things like that. Emily's really great at design and automations. Obviously, you can tell by the answers she's given. So take a look at the experts link. If that suits your needs, great. If you are a self-supported person on like building your own site, building your own course, becoming your own course creator, then you've got this as a resource. You've got our Facebook page. You've got the help at lifterlms.com, and we'll try to get you directed from there. Folks, that is going to put us at, I don't want to miss him. Adam said hi. I see that there's a couple of other questions. Some folks I know already, so I'll try to reach out to you and answer some of these. We had a lot come in today. We will see you very, very soon. We will see you next week. Have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day.